We, we have suffered through hard times and gone through harder times, but our kings seek our survival and prosperity to last eternally. Without revenge, that cannot be the case. That cannot be the case. We have gotten our vengeance, but our revenge still waits. Let's show those Iberian mocks what power is. Phygius von Kartosca, son of Phygia, son of Carthage. Welcome everyone to another video. Today we're looking at what if civilization started over, do human scenario, Age of Conflict. Now, as of last episode, the Age of Conflict has gone on for 2 episodes, and basically, last episode we saw the fall of Venice, probably. Yeah, we saw the fall of Venice, and we also saw the rise of Carthage over here. Now, Carthage really much hates this thing over here that Gibraltar has, but Gibraltar is like, yo, you can't do heck because we are in a defensive alliance. So yeah, so the Circle Alliance over here, the Portuguese Oval, as it's called, sees that the Portuguese have united 6 countries under their own banner, and they have caused a lot of bad stuff to happen in these regions. Of course, we do see a lot of things happening in the world, like Venice seeking defense against its rivals over here, decides to become a part of this alliance between these two guys, which at this point is kinda outdated, but I might just give this to someone named this guy. So yeah. But as we can see, the military alliance over here has the one possibility of defending and attacking, both in 2 ways. But Carthage is smart at this point. As we saw in the title talk, basically, they took this island, but they also seek revenge. But the one that seeks it is the one who wants it. And we quickly see that this army over here, yeah, it seeks violence. So we're going to see that this army has, since its remaking, moved over here and then back over here to kinda confuse the Iberians on what they're doing. And over here we also see that similar things happen. And finally, we actually see our inner war between countries over here. Now we see that this country over here decided that it would break its off its agreement with whatever the nation it was over here. We quickly see that this guy over here, this area, wasn't taking that too lightly, and they were like, yo, you can't do that, that's illegal. And they were like, yo, it's not illegal, we just do it because we want to. And then war happened. These guys managed to push quite far, although their efforts were not that strong, as these guys, yes, may have multiple villages to gain a lot of taxes from, but they don't have any type of king or here. And we quickly see that a member of the defense over here, of the defensive the defensive Oval Alliance, will invade another country which is against the Oval Alliance's wishes. And we quickly see that with this, the Oval Alliance decides that should we disband the alliance, since one nation is like doing stuff we don't want it to do. And eventually we do see that this nation over here joins this guy in an attempt to like gain support in some parts or ways. And for the first time, this guy Valencia has a proper army for itself, so it does have army, but it looks horrid. So yeah, that's just something that happens. Valencia is currently very against Iberia, the Iberian alliance, even though it was forced to sign it, or the other nations would see it as a threat. We quickly see that the Iberian forces over here that moved into this country did so out of one thing. One thing, that being that they wanted access to other things. And those other things, if we quickly go to a very important layer here, because trade routes. They wanted access to trade routes, more of them, and basically they wanted to take this country and then push into this one. But once Valencia took it, they were like, "Fuck!" And now they don't have much of a thing. Although the shortest way to get over here from Valencia to here is like going through Iberia. It's still a long way, and you would be better off taking the longer way, because that's more safer. And that's because Iberia has no regulation of what safety is. So at some point we do see that a weird coincidence happens, as two armies go without pay and food for five months, and eventually these armies are like, yo, no, we can't hold this. And the third and second army are the ones that are without food. The first army had long since moved to the capital, to ready for anything possible, and we see that this green mercenary thing will quickly just escape the country by going over here and quickly going into Gibraltar, where they kind of try and integrate into the Gibraltar nation, although they were kicked out. And once they reached Carthage, they were like, yo, can we be a part of you? And they were like, sure, why not? The second army, actually the third army, decided that they would start a rebellion, even though they are without proper forces or proper aid. They do manage to do a lot for themselves, as they manage to take 2 towns under their control. And once they do, they actually see that most of the northern areas over here decided to join them, partly because of this area being anti-Iberian occupation. We quickly see that with this large northern rebellion being quite close to the capital, and the southern one being not as close to the capital but still close enough, it's like very much a very bad thing for the Iberians, who are seeing that due to their unpaying and uncaring nature, they have just lost 2 very valuable armies, and now they're having an invasion being done by one of their own armies. And we quickly see that this army over here decides to become a coup army, and quickly a lot of people start to join it, and we quickly see that it grows over 2,000. With that being said, the first town to fall of the Iberians is this town over here. Although it's close to the capital, the forces of the capital still do not move out, but once the coup forces manage to get too close to another town, the forces of the Iberians do come out and try to attack this town while also defending this one. Although they do lose the defense over here, they almost manage to take the town over here, although it's still futile. And once we see that this actually starts to happen, many nobles are like, yo, I want independence. And the Iberians are like, no, you don't get independence, you didn't help me. And when the word help me comes along the voice of a prince that says that, yeah, a prince said that, we quickly see that two Iberian nations kind of declare independence. We see that this very populated the northern one, a duchy inside of the kingdom. The duchy is very important because that's where most of the wool comes from. And over here we see a pro-Portuguese assimilation, Portuguese duchy kind of comes into existence, although it's overthrown, and we quickly see that it goes through many iterations as people just kind of come and go. Eventually this town over here decides that, you know what, I'm gonna cut my losses, and it does. And we quickly see that once it does so, it quickly takes control of its lands and just becomes very powerful. Over here, we do see that some of these areas join this thing over here. And we quickly see that many neo-nations will kind of come into existence against the wishes of the Iberians. Although the Iberian king is very against the thought of giving these areas up, eventually he sees that even one of his own princes, his sons, will be against him, and the Kuis do decide to allow this guy to take those areas while they take this. And we quickly see that the Kuis quickly take over most of the country, taking over all of the south basically. With all of the south being taken, they will start to move into the capital regions. The prince has decided to support them and has decided to also join their nation. We quickly see once the capital falls and the army over here is forced to go out of it, they're ambushed by many different forces, and eventually the army decides that just helping this king that they have, because they like had a king right there, is not worth it. And once they decide that, they kind of just fell apart. We quickly see that the Kuis quickly just take back all of their promises to whatever nations these two were, and they quickly invade this guy to take this nation over. And we quickly see once they start their invasion over here, they quickly see that this nation is very strong, very populated, and very against them. But once the Kuis are going to start introducing some propaganda, they are like, this nation is actually kind of cool. This nation quickly unites with this one, creating this weird central nation. Although it's very central, it's very weird still. We quickly see that the Portuguese will annex this nation. Well, they won't annex it. They don't have enough manpower currently to fully annex it, but they will annex some parts. Over here in this nation over here, they also take some territory, although it's still a small piece of territory. The more Portuguese speaking populations over here are going to be taken. We quickly see that once the Portuguese show that they will take parts of the nations from their allies, one by one the various friends that they had gathered through their times over here have decided to just leave. This nation leaves first because it has no business. This guy also leaves. These two leave together, and finally after this guy leaves, it's just Portugal who finally dissolves the whole thing. And seizing the opportunity to quickly become very strong, we quickly see that this army over here was assimilated in that. If I can find the if this army becomes the third army, and eventually we do see that the third army does manage to actually become pretty powerful. Although it's still the third army, it manages to basically be on the same level as the second army. Yep, they're the same in size. So the second and third armies make their move, and we quickly see that the second army will make their move against this town over here, trying to take it over first. But the third army doesn't go even for the Gibraltars, they go over here to the less defended shores. And that's because they wanted to take something real quick. And also they had gone through here, seen the territories, and they for damn sure knew what's going to happen. As we can see, once these two guys managed to push through, Gibraltar was like, I'm gonna just surrender. Yeah, they surrendered. Malaga wasn't very much happy about this, but once Gibraltar was kind of occupied, and then had like a large problem, that being the threat of these guys moving into this guy, it was very much well, thought the Malagans thought they were going to be invaded first, which would be kind of a good idea to defend against if they had done that idea before they had noticed that a weird navy was off their shores. And we quickly see over here the Carthaginian army, first army, does manage to land, and that's without any opposition. And once they take this small region over here, they start their invasion. And we quickly see that once they start this, they pose as mercenaries who want to take over the country. The Malagans do send their second army to deal with this, thinking that the forces over here are very small. But once they meet the very large Carthaginian army, who then use encirclement tactics in their battle, and we quickly see that this army is just deleted off the face of the earth. And we quickly see that the second army push the first and second army start their march on the capital over here. The third army decides to stay behind, even though it might not have to. It does so because it had just captured this town, and this guy is like, yo, why are you moving into our territory? Wait, are you guys invading us? And that's the moment that the Malaga realized that the reports of their second army being destroyed over here that was finally reaching them are true, and it was just that they have been tricked. And eventually we see that the idea of tricking another nation while they were like not at war was a very popular one. And once the Malagan navy was also cut off over here, we quickly see that the Malagan navy would try and land troops in this village, although a naval battle will occur where the Malaga kinda does not manage to defend its own shores. And eventually we see that the first army eventually decides it isn't a good idea to stay over here, and eventually a kind of coup takes place inside the army, and this is the fourth army. I know this wouldn't be very true, but the fourth army is basically Malagans, who were very supportive of the Carthaginians. It's made up of them, and we quickly see that with all of these forces just in this army, they will split up into two, but that won't stop this guy from getting Carthaginian troops. Also, they were kind of destroyed over here, so I'm just gonna say that this was made in like tandem with that. And once people just decided that, yo, the day wouldn't get any worse, once they got news of the fourth army of Carthagia being just made during wartime, everyone up here was like panicking, because nobody in history had four armies. Now, each of these armies are very different. This is the main army, so it has the most troops, while these guys are levied armies. So these guys can go home if they want, and they can go home if they very much desire. So also, eventually Malaga just decided to surrender, and once they did, we do see that not only did that just cause them to lose all respect for their own country, we quickly see that Carthage just annexes them in full. And once Carthage does so, they decide that they won't go any more up north, but they will go after somebody over here. And knowing that they would be attacked, Valencia would ask their ally up north, this guy up here, to send some, well, not ally up north, but Iberian friend to kind of just come and help them. And we see that the Iberians did send their second army and kept their first army on the borders because they were still scared. And turns out that the first army of Carthage and the third army would be stationed over here. Well, actually the fourth and third army would also come over here, because life. While the second army remained over here to defend against any attacks. Also, this guy, Portugal, you have kind of fallen off the tables over here. But as we can see, in the battle of well, basically the only battle fought in Valencia at this point that would be known to become very popular is the battle of the two armies. And the battle of the two armies would be a masterclass battle. Like, if you went to a later historian in this series, in the later ages, you would like see a massive amount of people saying that this moment in this part of history was very, very crucial for both the Carthaginians and the Valencians, because Valencia had to win this battle at all costs, and they didn't. I'm just gonna say that because you guys would already know. And the main reason is that the Valencians just had no ability to defend this second army once they were pushed out into these areas. Also, the first army almost took the Valencian capital, but once the Valencians backed away, they decided, you know what, the north is more valuable anyway, let's just go there. And they slowly snaked across the north, took this town over here, and took the other town down south. And once they just took the last town and last area over here, they were already in a good position. The north had long since given up. The Iberian army was let go. And well, shit, seems like I'm gonna have another nation have 4 armies. Well, shit, Mesopotamia, it's a lucky day, since you and Ankara made an alliance. Yep, those two made an alliance. Don't ask, they just did. I know that all of this is kind of like chaotic, and you wouldn't understand why. I don't know why I'm kind of making this kind of weird. But basically, Carthage is pretty strong at this point, and they're strong enough to hold their own against like any army. If they had like 3 armies with them, 3 armies put together, they could stand up to any army that would unite. But anyway, that wouldn't really happen, so they're kind of very strong. Also, they're mobilizing most of the Moroccan people over here to make this fourth and third army even possible. And this third army is also made up of Iberians who were captured and or were found. So, yeah. Over here we see that again, Valencia sees the same fate as the last time, and it again fails to defend itself. Although weirdly this time, most of it to the north is like almost untouched fully, like almost fully untouched. The rest is like, okay, you can have that, but we're just gonna take this area. And we quickly see that the north is kind of just left to its own devices, and northern Valencia is like, you just invaded us, so why did you allow us to exist as a puppet? And basically, Carthage is like, yo, I'm just trying to get some vengeance over here. I just want revenge for what happened to me. I'm just out of revenge. So, yeah. But eventually, once the war dies down, we quickly see that the third army does still stick around, but the fourth army, made up of mostly Moroccans, goes home and stops existing over here. But seeing the large problem of consolidating these regions, Carthagio will have to take over most of these regions over here as a fool. But eventually they're like, yo, why not just make one large thing over here? And that's where the Carthaginian palabel, the word palabel, comes in. because Carthaginia's word means, the Carthaginian word Balabel means king of your own. And basically, once this king of your own was introduced, we see that Gibraltar would have a very weird fate awaiting it, as we quickly see that, what the hell am I doing over here? As we are about to see, Gibraltar would have a bit of partitioning to be done to it. It would not stay the same. The northern parts would go over to the puppet over here, while Carthagia just holds on to these areas. Over here we also see that this is a long-standing puppet. Oh hell, what have I got damn done? Yeah, this is just a puppet. The reason for it was because they kind of had consolidated all of Sardinia. The people weren't against them anymore, and they were giving them equal, basically, standing. But Korsaka wasn't that friendly to them, so they had to also make like puppets over here. Also, these guys long since have split it into two. We have basically two forces of. Actually, I think it's about time that we have had a Atlas nation over here. It's long since been the time to do so. So we have our Atlas nation. Carthagia kind of aids it in setting it up. And these guys are going to like be very good modern fighters. They are going to have modern experience, and they're very strong. And the Berbers are going to have the best cavalry. The Carthaginians have the best navy. You could argue that would be Ankaras or not Prussia's, but currently I'm just saying that these two are the largest nations in the world, behind this guy, of course. Now, going over to another area of the world, we see that Ankara, you have been doing much stuff during this video, haven't you? You have. That is good. Because we see Ankara suddenly declares that Rhodes must give it its entire region over here. All of Rhodes must fall under their, puppet status. And we quickly see that Rhodes, unable to defend itself against such a large nation, will have to comply. And the reason for Rhodes giving up their independence was because at this point Rhodes had a bit of a problem on their hand. They had this large empire near them, and they had the possibility to stay independent and like fight for an independence. They had a navy, but the Ankara navy was stronger than them, larger than them, better than them. It was just too much. They had a better larger army. They had better forces. They had Ankaran and Messoans together would have just steamrolled Rhodes. And Rhodes was like, fuck, you know what? Let it be. We would still exist if we were a puppet, so damn it. And we quickly see that the reason for them just giving up was because the king just resigned. He just gave up. Also, Freisi, you have been possibly meddling too much in Ankaran affairs, haven't you? That's a lie. Ankara just made that up to kind of justify something. It's like false justification. And the reason for Ankros doing this, because Ankros is currently like 40, his son is about to take control, so he wants to make his last campaign the most memorable. Ankros decides to frame Freisi of justifying trying to support any new nobles that identify as Constantine. And we quickly see that due to this, they will start an invasion. Although the capital is not yet taken, we see that the navy of Ankara will quickly take over a lot of territory. And not only will they take over so much territory as possible, we quickly see that Freisi being very much disliked will their leadership is very much disliked by their people, and wants a new, larger and stronger leadership that is actually compassionate about their people and wants to unify all of the Turkic peoples. It just becomes very apparent that to the commoners who kind of get speeches from these guys over here of Ankara, that Ankara is a much more better place to live. Many of the Frisic peoples have already moved over to Ankara. We even see once the second army arrives to fully support this attack over here, the people just adore the second army. And eventually the second army takes over all of the northern parts and goes on to attack those areas. I know I'm moving a bit too fast into the whole thing that's happening over here, but that's how fast the years go by, how fast the months go by. And we quickly see that the 9th month of this battle, of the fight for Frisia, kind of concludes with this town being taken and eventually a siege being put on the city. Even though the siege is very lasting, around the 9th, after like 2 more months, around the 11th month, the soldiers get tired and they kind of overthrow the emperor and declare that, we're just surrendering. And once they were told to fight on, they just let the gates open, and most of them were shot with arrows. But seeing the opportunity, the second army and the first army just went in and took it. And after Freisi just fell, we quickly see that Freisi will have a large problem on their hand. And that problem is that most of their areas over here were annexed. Now, why were these areas annexed and not just taken over? Why were they annexed, basically? Well, Ankaras wanted these regions to finalize their empire's trade routes, because they wanted to control the trade through this region over here and this area also. And once they did so, they decided that Ankaras would step down from being the emperor. And we see that Constantinople, actually Istanbul, will be basically stripped of its capital status, and it will become a smaller city. Although it becomes a smaller city, it manages to be a capital for a bit longer, for when one very important thing happens. During this period, Ankara's population booms takes a large move upwards, and once people from Rhodes start to move in, and they're like, that's actually kind of fun and a good place to actually live compared to where they had been living, and the people from other parts of the world, especially Meso, who's sending a lot of people in to trade and all of that, we see that the boom in population and even some more births, other births occur in this region over here. Eventually, it brings forth this, the first 5-pixel capital. The first one is not even Mesoan. Meso is currently building a lot of stuffs, and its people are very happy. So the population is sustaining itself and slowly growing. But for Ankara, they have a now more noticeable, even from far away you can notice it. In other parts you can also notice it. But over here we see that due to this, due to the fall of the capital over here, these areas will become the new capital, and since they're very close to the fucking sea, it will kind of be different. Also, quick note, the reason I put these two very close to each other was because Freisi was building another city over here. Yes, they were building one. although this village over here is going to consist of it mostly, most of the port regions over here. The town over here makes up most of the population, so it's kind of a win-win for now. Over here we see that this guy is made into the city after the population boom. Again, another city comes into existence somewhere, but that is yet to be decided. I cannot find... Yeah, here's another city. I'm just joking. You guys would have liked that, huh? But yeah, another city, well, is created though. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. No. That's too close to that. But we finally see that one last city is created, and once that is done, the consolidation of Ankara becomes so complete that eventually nations will start to unite to stop their influence. And the first one to unite other nations is Sparta, who quickly makes the Spartan Federation, which is going to try and defend itself against any possible raids or attacks from, well, you know who, Ankara. And we quickly see that a dual capital idea will be made, and this guy over here will decide that, you know what, joining it will be very okay. And eventually the dual capital thing goes over into overdrive when they're like, yo, should we have like a dual capital or not? And eventually they just put one capital that's closer to both capitals, so yeah. Afan Singh, who is currently watching this, quickly has a personal union with this guy, because yeah, currently a lot of stuff is happening. Yeah, I know the time is over, like, yeah. 37 minutes, goddamn, I still have time. We have 3 minutes. Well, sure, how about I just show you something real quick, because a man has decided to do something. A guy named Alje from Burma or Sri Lanka. He's like half Sri Lankan, half Burman, because like Burmese and Sri Lankan people just meet over here in Indus. He's an Indus person, and he one day decides that he would just want to explore the dead region over here. This over here unexplored part is known as the dead region, and eventually, once he arrives, he finds something that kind of disturbs him, and that is a weird kind of mist over here. And once he starts to arrive with like 2 different ships, those 2 ships suddenly disappear, and afterwards we find out that these 2 ships are actually going to be flung all the way, like teleported all the way over here, where they're like, whoa, where are we? And once they meet with the local people over here, they find out they're all the way in here and not over here, which is like very weird for them. And they will very much claim that they were over like in the down Sumatran area, and these guys are like, yo, you're just delusional, and they don't talk. So yeah, kind of happens. But this guy eventually discovers that there's something below his ship once he comes across this, and he decides to jump into the water. And what he finds is only what can be said to be a metallic ship of unknown design. It's sleek, it's different, and it's weird. He enters it and doesn't come back out. Eventually, he is presumed dead. His family hold a funeral, and that's all that happens over here. Or is it? Because not only did this ship suddenly disappear from the map, it started to move around. And eventually, it took off from this planet. Eventually, after the war over here, because once the thing over here happened during the war over here, and once this war started to happen, the war of Freysi, the Ankaran-Freysic war, we see that a meteor-like thing will befall the world over here as the ship suddenly appears over the waters over here, and will just barely almost hit here. It will almost hit the regions over here. The water level will rise a bit, but only for a bit. And once this ship skates off the water, goes across the areas over here, evades all of these villages, and then goes on into the unknown regions. Nothing else is known about it except for it suddenly just moves like this. And eventually it meets up with the second ruin over here. This ship then unites with this ship, and they just go somewhere. And from here I can say that thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.